Hello everyone, welcome to TechSharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important example related to GET response or GET API. So today I'll show you another way through which we can get the response from API with the help of strongly typed array. Okay, so basically we are going to use the interface to get the response in a particular format. So this is the output, like what we are going to achieve at the end of the session. We will get these kind of two headings which shows Angular course by TechSharmit, and the main topic of today's session is strongly typed GET response using interfaces. Then we have one horizontal row and one small paragraph heading like comp1 homepage, and this is the data that we have fetched from the API. Okay. Now the question comes, how we can use interface to get this kind of response. So this is the main agenda of this session. Okay, we will see how we can fetch this information. So for that, what I'll do, I'll walk you through the entire source code. I'll explain you each and everything, like what is important, what is the steps and the entire process to get the data. Okay, but before we get started with this, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use response with the help of interface. But prior to that, you should know what is GET API and the other examples that we have already covered. Clear? Perfect. So now, and for that, what you can do, you can refer the TechSharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can easily consume the content and you can ask the question if there is anything you want to discuss. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and see the code. So firstly, I'll show you the mandatory files. Okay, the steps that are common in almost every example. So firstly, we will go to the app.config.ts file and make sure that in app.config.ts file you have registered for this HttpClient. Okay, provide HttpClient. So this step should be there in every app.config.file. Doesn't matter what type of application you are building. If you are calling the API, it should be here. Okay, this should be here. So basically this line, what it is telling Angular, it is telling Angular that we are going to use some API, so please enable it. Okay, that's so simple. Now after this config file, we have created two files. One is environment.ts. So those who have watched the previous session don't know that environment.ts is the file that we created early in last example to store the URL. So how it will help us, like instead of writing the URL again and again in every time when we are going to call API, we will just simply use this environment variable environment. Okay, so it will save a lot of our time. So this is very important thing. Okay, we are just storing the URL here, and then I can use my variable environment to get to execute this API here. Second thing is users.ts, and remember, these are the normal TypeScript file. These are not the component file. Okay, these are normal TypeScript file. Second file which is new in this example is users.ts. So this is the file where basically we are creating the interface. Okay, so this is my interface file where I have explained every format like number, name, username, email, everything. Okay, so this is what I am expecting from my API to return. Okay, so as I'm using the test API, so I know like these are the data that I can expect from it. But in case if you are using any other API, so make sure to provide the response data accordingly. Okay, but this is how you will provide the information. Okay, so we just exported interface and user, then we specified ID with name, ID as number, name as string, username as string, email as string. Okay, so now this interface we are going to use in our main application. Now we all know that every time, instead of directly putting the API logic in app component or the main component, we use one component, right? So here I have already created comp1 component where I will keep my entire logic for the API calling. In case if you don't know how to create the comp1 component. So what you can do, you can simply write here ng for Angular g generate, then you can write here comp1 ngGC. Yeah. So what it will do, this command will create the component with name comp1 in my system. So basically it add 4 files here. So you can see comp1.component.css, html, spec.ts and component.ts. So these are the files that we have created with the help of component. Now next what we are going to do, we are going to attach this component with our main application, and we all know that the main application is app component. Okay, so here what basically we are doing, in app.component.ts file we have attached this comp1. So import comp1 component from component. Okay, so we have imported it and now we are good to use it in our HTML. So basically we will go to app.component.html. Here I will put my required heading like Angular course by TypeScript, strongly typed get response using interface, and one horizontal row. After that horizontal row, whatever data we will be processing in comp1 will be displayed here. So for that I just use this tag, that is app-comp1. Okay, and if you don't know what is app-comp1, this is just a selector name. So when you create your component and you go to your component.ts file, you will find this selector name here. Okay, so you have to use this. That's it. Okay, so till now what we did, we created, firstly we configured the app.config.ts file to enable the HTTP client, right? Then we created 2 TypeScript file. One is to store the URL, okay, which is environment variable, and another one to create the user interface that we are expecting from the API response. After that we connected the component comp1, like we created the comp1 and connected it with the application and shows the required output on HTML of app component. Now the main logic part is inside this comp1. So I'll just show you how I am utilizing it with the API. So for that you can simply go to comp1.component.ts. Here you can see there are so many things that are already imported, but I'll show you by the time we will walk through the code. Okay, so just think from here. Okay, just see from here. So when you create it from scratch, you will find this comp1 component blank. Okay, so inside this whatever we have write is related to API call, and here we are implementing onInit method. I'm sure like you know about the onInit method because this thing we have already covered in our last sessions. Not last session, but there is one particular session for onInit. But for now just keep in mind that onInit is a method that automatically execute whenever the application loads. Okay, all right. Now this commented line I purposely kept because in last session we stored the data in data colon any. That means whatever, where any type of data can be stored in this data variable. But this time we are not going to use it. That's why I commented it, and instead of that I provided data colon user of array equal array. That means this time we are expecting a array, and what kind of array that we have described inside this user.ts file. Okay, so this kind of information we are going to store. Now you will just simply create the constructor. So private HTTP colon HTTP client. That means we are using this HTTP to use this HTTP client. Then inside a onInit method, we all know that this method will automatically invoked whenever the application loads. So we are just providing the API logic here. And how you will execute the API? This .http.get user of array, then environment.api URL, then / and users. Okay, so I want data for all users. Okay, .subscribe result, this data equal result. So whatever information we are going to fetch from the API will be stored inside this data object array, and then we will be using it to display the output. Okay, so now I'll show you how to display the output. So here you can see I basically provided this short heading, that is comp1 homepage, user list, UL for ordered list item is ng for, so we are running one for loop here, let user of data, and then we are showing the email. So if you execute this code now, ng serve -- open enter, Just wait for a few seconds and then you will see that output is coming as a user emails. Okay, and it is basically the data that is coming from the API. So you can see, and this is a test API. Okay, you can also use it. It's free for everyone. In case instead of email you want to get name, so you can get name as well. Okay, because we have captured everything. So this is the name. Okay, so basically what we did, what we learned in this session is how to use interface to get strongly typed response from the GET API. I hope this session is clear to all of you. Still, if you have any question, queries or anything you want to discuss, feel free to reach out to me. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Share Myth.